The women's title. Did we have the women's title earlier? What were the frickin' frack fighting over? Tony Storm and...
Oh, no, this is the TBS championship. The TBS championship.
Oh, crap. Which is a women's title. Because it can never be a men's title now, because a man would have to beat a woman for it to cross over the gendarmes, the genres, the genders. So it's forever a women's title, right?
I guess the question is, what happens if they end up either signing with Warner Brothers Discovery and not being on TBS, or signing with a different network and not being on TBS? What happens to that championship?
Well, then it changes names to the YouTube championship.
The headline news champion is here right now.
the Garden Channel. But anyway, okay. TBS title, women's title, whatever. Mercedes Mone, CEO versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And boy, I think they ought to give us an IOU for this one. Mercedes makes me dislike something involving dogs. Is that a first for my life?
The hell does that mean?
They brought her entrance. They brought her out in the Queen's carriage with the... What do they call them? The footmen or the archmen or the toe men or the heel men or whatever, pushing the carriage. And Queen Mercedes had the corgis. The corgis are the Queen's dogs. You didn't notice that little factoid there?
I saw that. I just wasn't exactly sure what you were saying.
Well, I didn't like this entrance because I don't like Mercedes, but now she's actually made me not like something involving dogs. And that's almost impossible. I would like dogs if the dogs were ripping my flesh from my bones. But this turned me off to the dogs.
All right.
This is her opinion of herself. And besides, she's the heel. Again, why she's the heel? Why is she coming out as the beloved Queen of England with the beloved corgi dogs and the pageantry of the British Isles there? Because she thinks she's a hot shit in the wrestling business. She's a queen. The robe that she was wearing cost more than this whole overblown fucking entrance probably cost. But anyway, I gotta say, it looked like Funk and Briscoe after Tony Storm and Maria were in there, what they were doing here. But their high spots were better than Mercedes's heat. When she takes over, she's too small to control people and too awkward or half a step off with the complicated stuff. To where, and as I wrote that, I write a note. That's when she tried the Bobby Eaton slingshot backbreaker and nearly missed dropping Britt Baker on her head trying to bounce her off the ropes. Did you see that part?
I noticed that, yes.
Oh,
I didn't think of Bobby when she did it, though.
Well, no, that's what she was going for. You wouldn't have thought of it by the end result, but that she was going for the old pick him up or pick her up, bounce her off the top rope, over the knee backbreaker, but she almost dropped her on her head, so she got a different grip on Baker and did another kind of slingshot backbreaker, but that one was weak as... That's... All she does is try to do this complicated shit, Mercedes I'm talking about, and it ends up either you can't tell who's supposed to sell the fucking bump, or it's just bleh. She doesn't have the power in that frame to move anybody around where she can do complicated shit and control you enough to protect you. And then how does the glove make it deadly? The lockjaw grip, when it's a fucking red lame glove. It's not the coal miner's glove with metal on the fucking fingers or, Edward Scissorhands. It's a fucking red lame glove.
And I think it was originally introduced, Dr. Britt Baker doing it. It wasn't that it had any powers. It was just that she was being hygienic and didn't want to get the germs on her fingers because she's a dentist.
She was a heel dentist, so she would put the plastic proctology examination glove on and do the finish, but now it's become a sequined Michael Jackson prop, and she's the babyface, and they're fighting over the glove because Britt puts the glove on but can't get the lockjaw. Mercedes sees the glove and puts it on, but Britt picked her up and dropped her on her head and took the glove back and put it on. And Tony Schiavone's line was, if she gets it on, she's going to win this thing.
Why?
Why? And it's an awkward back and forth. This is so long and slow. Then the flipping body slam off the turnbuckle woke the people up. But so apparently Mercedes got the title belt and swung, but the referee caught it and took it away. It's not a disqualification just because of intent, I guess, anymore. And while he's putting it out, Britt kicks Camille and grabs the other belt, because Mercedes has two belts, and tossed it to Camille and took the bump, the old Eddie Guerrero thing. So the referee turned around and ejected Camille. And then Britt Baker gave Mercedes the Panama City Sunrise or the Alabama Winter is Coming, whatever the fuck that thing is, and a curb stomp and got a 2 count. And I'm like, everything overbooked all the time. Now they've lost all the momentum. And silence ruled the day. And they struggled.
That's what it is, too. I'm sorry to interrupt. You say momentum. There is no momentum because the crowd is dead.
Well, but at least they were active in the ring. The match was going. This is, if they're going to do something, let them go to the fucking finish. When they swing the belt, the referee catches it, putting it out. The other title belt comes into play. The manager takes a bump. The referee turns and ejects the manager. The babyface hits 2 finishes. 2 count. What the fuck? Now they're just selling. Now they're struggling over the lockjaw. Mercedes bites Britt's fingers. That should be the other way around. The babyface should bite the heel fingers. And Mercedes shoves Britt Baker somehow awkwardly into the ropes, botching something, and then hit her finish. And you can't tell whether that's a botch or not normally. 1, 2, 3. She beat Britt Baker just flat in the middle of the ring. What was the thing they were trying to do that looked like Britt just ran into the ropes and then fell away?
I'm not sure, but I've said it before. Mercedes Mone, whatever you want to say about her manufactured personality and just how fake it comes across, and it's all performance to the point where you can't lose yourself in it, she can do stuff in the ring. I'm questioning if Britt Baker can. Because we've seen lots of sloppy moments in the past, and sometimes it feels like she can't keep up, or she just doesn't have basics down. I don't know. There's something
I think this
off.
Was a group effort.
Maybe.
I mean,
I'm not saying Mercedes is Flair or anything.
How did Britt wasn't responsible for dropping her own self on her head almost off the slingshot backbreaker. I'm not saying that Britt was, Red Bastien here either. Pull a deep cut out. But it would, and then they're trying to do a finish that requires a lot of timing and wouldn't make a tremendous amount of sense if they did it right, because again, the fucking heel, it apparently just beat the babyface. Both of them tried to cheat. The Camille, the manager, was really a non-entity. Minor interference. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this. But so they're continuing not only this program, but Mercedes Mone's push to the stratosphere.
This stuff has been less over than the Tony Storm Mariah May stuff, I think. And it's not like that's lighting the world on fire. Hayter came back, got a big reaction. Again, it's a comeback. It's also her hometown or home country. I'm not exactly sure what. But big reaction for all the time they've spent on TV with this. Britt Baker and Mercedes Mone, with Camille being added to it. They got the first segment on the show several times. There was nothing. There was no buzz for it. There was no energy for it. There was no excitement for it. I think even though she's a heel, people may start firing rounds if they have to hear that CEO one more time. So I just think this is all missing. This is all just not working. Jamie Hayter came back at a bigger reaction than Britt Baker could get. And
Yeah.
they're gonna be kept away from each other. The whole natural thing was Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. And now that's not gonna be done. So I was not a fan of this match.